Hi everyone, this is my daily stretch routine. I thought I was going to talk while doing it, but figured it'd be easier to do a voiceover so that you could just follow along. So let's start with some breathing, get our arms activated, start to loosen up the neck. Here I am thinking, what am I going to do next? But I start rolling my neck to really get that activated. I always feel pretty tight in the neck when I wake up in the morning. So this is usually a nice quick neck roll stretch to get my neck activated and loosen up. And this stretching routine that I'm going to share with you is pretty much the routine I do every single morning. So here I am activating my arms, doing little back pats. This also just kind of wakes up the lymphatic system in your body because we have a lot of lymph that is stuck. This is a good way to activate the lymphatic system, to wake it up so that we can move the lymph and we're able to move more smoothly throughout the day. So like I was saying before, this routine I do pretty much every morning, minus some small changes here and there depending on how I'm feeling. So here I am doing some arm rotations. First, I do it in the front and then I do it backwards just to activate the shoulder sockets. Now let's do it on the other side. I also love stretching outside when it's really nice out. I live in the Northeast, so it can be tough to do that all season long, but once spring, summer, and even towards the end of fall, I really like doing it so that I can ground simultaneously. So I guess for this stretch, I decided I needed some extra neck stretching, and I did a little bit of neck rolling and pushed my neck down to the side. I'm currently staying at a cabin in Lake George, New York with my family. So this was really nice to be able to stretch outside as soon as I woke up. And then to really get the lymph system going, I start to rub the back of my neck. This is something that I actually learned from a yogi nun. And I think I kind of did it a little out of order this time around. I usually start with massaging my face and then massaging my scalp, but I know I woke up very early this morning, so I probably did it out of order. Massaging the scalp, getting the lymph activated even more. So again, your lymph can be stuck and you want to activate it on your head, on your face. It could be stuck in the back of your neck. So here I am moving the lymph. So massaging your scalp is actually really important because it helps activate the lymph fluid that can actually be stuck in your face and in your scalp as well. People do this also to help with hair growth, but I mainly do it for the lymph. And now that I activated my head and the back of my neck already, now I'm pulling all of that lymph down from the shoulders that can kind of get stuck. My shoulders can get a little tight too in the morning, so it's nice to do a quick little massage. I, for the most part, sleep on my back, but I do find myself rolling from side to side every once in a while, so my shoulders can be a little tight. And if you want to really activate it even more, you can do it with both hands while reaching your chin up to the sky. I use that by opening up my mouth and reaching it up. We bend our necks forward so often just by sitting at the computer at our desk, looking at our phones. Doing this opposite motion is really, really helpful to get our spine and our necks back into position. So now we're starting with some quad stretches. This also helps with balance. And this slowly wakes up the hip flexors. I think the majority of my back pain was actually due to because my hip flexors were so tight. I do have a herniated disc in my lower back, and it used to pinch and cause me to not be able to walk for a couple of days. That has not happened. It used to happen once, maybe even twice a year. That has not happened in 3 years because I do these daily morning stretches. I am convinced that because I am more flexible, still have a ways to go, that I no longer have chronic back pain. And starting with opening up the hips is really helpful because sometimes we put too much pressure on our lower back because our hips are not stretched out. Then I do a forward fold. What's helpful is to hug your thighs to get your hips again in the proper position. If you hug your thighs first while bending your knees and then straighten your knees, it gets your hips in the right position. So even during this forward fold, kind of massage my thighs, I massage my booty, I massage the lower back just to really open up and activate everything. I hold this for about a minute. I usually count by my breaths, usually take about 8 seconds. So I do about 5 or 6 breaths, and then I go on to the next stretch. And that next stretch is widening out my feet and putting my elbows on the ground. My hair is covering them up. This stretch, mainly what I am trying to do is opening up the inner parts of my hip flexors near my inner thighs even more. And what I try to do is pretend like there's a string on my behind that's lifting me up towards the sky. And now I go on each side to really open up that inner hip even more. And then switching sides, really focusing on the inside of the hip and the inner thigh. Try to keep your balance though. It was not very balanced, but if you want to make this even more of a balancing pose, you could actually bring both of your hands up. I just have my one hand up here because that's a trick if you want to keep the bugs out of your face. Put a hand up. I learned this while playing softball. Whenever the bugs were really bad during humid summertime, we would put our gloves up in the air and they would stay just circling our gloves instead of circling our face. So here I am practicing the balancing pose with both my hands up, but I only did that for a little bit. And now I am in the kimchi squat. I usually like to do this for at least a minute. This relieves my lower back pain so much. I'm telling you, I have not had chronic lower back pain in about 3 years now, and I am convinced it's because I do poses like this on the daily. And from there, I sit right down on the ground, put my feet together and get into butterfly pose. Just kind of waving my legs back and forth to open them up and activate them before putting my elbows down on my knees to open up the stretch even more. Always have to do face effects because it makes it more fun. I'm kind of simultaneously massaging the bottom of my feet too. So really up to you. Sometimes I do that at the end of my stretch practice, but looks like I decided to do a little bit there. Also, I'm stretching out my booty so that I lay more flat on the ground. And now we're in a figure 4 stretch, just a typical Western stretch, not too yoga-y, because I really like it. I feel like it really helps me to stretch out my sides, to open up the obliques. It's just a good old school stretch that I love. And then I take the opposite hand. I really try to square my body, my upper body towards my foot. And then I take the hand from the opposite side and bring it over to my big toe while having the hand that was originally on my foot behind me. And the goal here is to get your nose to your knee. When you're first starting this, try to keep your back as straight as possible. If you cannot get your nose to your knee, that is okay. This is going to simultaneously stretch your oblique and your lower and upper back at the same time. And then I put the foot that was facing forward, I bend the knee and I put it behind me. I usually move my upper body around to try to figure out what part of my hamstring or maybe even the side of my thigh is tighter. So you don't have to go directly over the knee. You can go a little bit more over your calf or more over the upper part of your thigh and just bend over, get your head on the ground, and this will be a really nice hamstring or side of the thigh stretch. I love this stretch because I'm usually pretty tight in my hamstrings. And now we'll switch over to the other side in a figure 4 stretch. Just elongating the hand that is on the same side of the outstretched leg, reaching over, and then having the opposite hand reach over your head and kind of look under your underarms to really activate that stretch even more, to get those obliques nice and stretched out. And now I'm squaring off my body straight towards the foot that's elongated or that's stretched out, and putting the hand that's on the same side behind me while taking the opposite hand and having that on my big toe, and then just taking my nose to my knee. Got a little bit of a bend in my back to try to stretch it down, but I've been better at keeping my back straight while bending. And now it's time to put that elongated leg behind me, trying to find exactly where on my hamstring it's tight, and bend your body over. I think some of my family members came out, so they probably saw me recording, and I was saying hello. And now it is time for some hip openers. This is a really good way just to drop your knees from side to side, just to open up the hip socket. I don't think people understand how tight our hips are. And usually the number one surgery that elderly people have once they get to an older age is hip surgery. And it always happens in like the craziest ways. It's never like some crazy, tragic, dramatic thing that they did. It's just they move the wrong way and they need a hip replacement. So doing things like this will help to prevent you needing a hip replacement. If you do this every morning, I promise you, you will probably not need a hip replacement when you get older. So now I have my legs elongated, and we are going to do some twists where my foot is on the opposite side of the other knee, and I elongate the arm, put it outside my thigh or my knee, and twist looking backwards. Now we're going to switch to the other side. I usually hold these stretches for about 15 to 20 seconds, but it really depends. If you feel like you need a little shorter or longer, really just listen to your body. This is also a great time just to relax, quiet down, not be on your phone, distracted, and really just be in tune with your body, how it's feeling, so that you could do the proper stretches. So now I'm rolling over to the front, getting on all fours. We're going to do a little cat-cow. This is great to activate the spinal fluid in your spine. A lot of times we start our morning just going straight to doing what we have to do for the day. And if there are just a few of these stretches that I would recommend everyone do, if you can't do all of them, I would say definitely the forward fold, doing some cat-cow, and one of the later stretches at the end, especially if you have lower back issues. If you need, it's just one of those days where, hey, you wake up late and you're like, oh, I can only do like 2 or 3 stretches before I start my day. Definitely the forward fold, cat-cow, and one of the stretches that we are going to show you at the very end. And then straight from cat-cow, I just go into child's pose. Give that lower back a break. Really lengthen out those arms in front of you. If you feel like you need to shimmy a little bit to get in position, do all the shimmying you need. And I hold this usually for about a minute. And then I get up into downward dog, pump the knees a little bit just to activate the lower legs. This also is a really good calf stretch too. And then I slowly walk my feet back over. And now that I've stretched, look, I can touch the ground like no problem now. I feel nice and stretched out. So I forgot to show you this stretch while I was filming in Lake George. So here I am in my bathroom. I like doing this stretch in my bathroom because there's no crown molding or baseboard molding, so it doesn't hurt my knee. It's just a flat wall. So you put your knee pretty much right up against the wall so that the knee is right in the corner where the wall meets the floor. And then you put the opposite leg out in front of you, and this will stretch your hip flexors so much. Do it on both sides for 2 minutes. I swear your lower back pain will disappear. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe for more videos on a soft lifestyle, feminine flow, and personal development. I will be making weekly videos to show you the things that I do to live a more soft, feminine lifestyle.